Yeah, until this is done. That's just a weird thing to say about the situation, you know? Anyway, NK told him to delete everything on his cell phone. And that's weird too. I mean, I don't know. I guess, you know, you could look at it as she just doesn't want all her personal stuff out there because they know, you know, she knows the media might get to. I don't know, but it does look kind of suspicious, I guess. You know, she deletes all of her texts and everything, and she tells him to delete everything. He didn't delete everything from NK, and he is not sure why. When he was on vacation in San Diego, he told his friend Mark about NK. Mark had a similar situation occur when he started dating a female who was engaged, and the female ended up cheating on him. He never completely opened up to Mark about NK and wished he did because Mark may have been able to offer him some advice. With regard to Kissinger being directly or indirectly involved in the murders, she, NK, had her moments where I had to talk to her, like off a ledge kind of deal. There were videos of NK recording herself because she was bipolar. I would love to see those videos and kind of study her because, you know, it's hard to analyze and make an opinion about her when all we have is a few of those interviews. You know what I'm saying? So I wish there was a little bit more information out there, like something like that, like videos of her recording herself because she was bipolar. That would be such a telling, you know, video, I feel like, to be able to kind of figure her out a little bit better. But I mean, I'm sure those are taken down, definitely. I'm sure they're not up anymore. But I wonder, you know, was it up on YouTube or Facebook? Because you never know, though. They might be out there somewhere. I don't know. Let me know if anybody has any information on that. His father or his attorney told him about a few videos NK made where she was talking about being bipolar. Okay, so wait a minute, did they see these videos or something? I'm going to have to look into that. Wow. She would get worked up about nothing. NK came to his house one time on July 4th. Oh, okay, so now he's saying she came to his house one time on July 4th. See, that's right. He says that, but then when you listen to the rest of him explaining that day, because when he goes to say, you know, she came to my house, then he's talking about sleeping in and missing 10 calls. So like even, you know, Tammy and Coder and Baumhover all are thinking that, okay, he's at his house, you know, and because that's what he first says. She came to my house, and he talks about, you know, Shanann calling him 10 times. So, and she tells, you know, he starts to tell it, and they're like, oh, wait. So she's at your house. And that's when he says, no, we were at her house. And he goes and he finishes the story, but there's no other mention of when she came to his house. So that's why I'm a little confused. But anyway, so Kissinger came to his house one time on July 4th. He woke up the morning of July 4th at NK's house because he didn't have to work that day. When he woke up, he had 10 missed calls from Shanann. He went outside and called Shanann back, and Shanann was pissed. Shanann yelled at him and asked him where he was at. He told Shanann he was sleeping, and Shanann told him she didn't know where he was at and hung up on him. He went back inside and told NK he had to go home in case Shanann called back. NK asked him if he was going to come back, and he said no. NK was pissed he left. NK said she felt like she was always going to be second fiddle. NK told him she researched online if mistresses could turn into a real relationship. Around the first week of August, he told NK he talked to Shanann about separating. So NK started looking for apartments for him. So it sounds like, as far as what Chris says about the relationship, that at first, you know how she claims, like, at first she always thought that he was separating when she first met him, you know, and they, you know, when she first found out he was married, that he said they were separating, you know, he was sleeping in the basement and they were already in the process of separating, right? He makes it seem like, you know, he didn't tell her they were separated until the first week of August. So, I don't know. who's telling the truth, who's lying. Did she know, like, she broke up a happy marriage? She just didn't want to admit it to the cops when they asked, so she pretended like, oh, they were separating before he even met me to make herself look better. Or is Chris lying and he really did tell her, they were separating when they first met? But I think, for some reason, I think she's lying on that. Like, she knew that she broke up the marriage. They weren't separated when she met him. NK never asked him to get rid of his family. His relationship with NK contributed to the murders, but she never asked him to do anything. NK never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she told him she wished she could give him a son. Wow. But remember, they're not serious. Remember, she said, oh, we're not serious, and I don't know. NK never knew Shanann was pregnant. It was possible NK saw Shanann was pregnant from Facebook, but NK never mentioned it to him if she saw it. With regard to the possibility he named his son Nico after NK, Shanann picked the name for their son. He wanted to spell his son's name Neko, but Shanann said no, Nico is an Italian name that Shanann always liked. He did not get to pick any of his children's names, but he told Shanann he liked them. With regard to him looking up lyrics to the Metallica song Battery, NK liked the song Battery and asked him what the song meant. Wow. And we all know that song. Just read the lyrics to that song Battery and see what you think. I read it in one of my previous videos when I was doing a read through, but that makes you wonder. The NK told him to look or NK asked, she liked the song and asked him what the song meant when it's talking about killing your family. So I wonder, if she was trying to plant something in his head, to look up the lyrics to try to get him thinking that way. It could have been these small little things that she was trying to hint at for him to do something like this. And one of them is like, oh, I like that song, look it up. Or, what does that song mean? Knowing he would go look it up and then try to analyze what it meant and then maybe start thinking that way and I don't know, like a little indirect way to like plant something in his head about thinking like that. He researched the meaning behind the lyrics and learned it referenced a family coinciding as a battery. So I'm going to look up, I saw the lyrics, but I'm going to do a little bit of research on what the meaning, like when you look online, what does it say the meaning of that song is? Because I don't want to say for sure, but it sounds like if you just read it for what it is, it says something about killing your family. So yeah, I definitely want to look into that. I'll let you guys know after I do. He did not look up the lyrics to the song when he was driving to or from the oil site after the murders. And that's another thing I wanted to look up, and maybe I'll make a note if I look it up before I post this. I feel like when you read the discovery, I feel like in the discovery it says that he looked them up after he killed them, like in the morning, right? Like around the time he would have already killed his family. But I'm not sure if it had a timestamp, because there's some things, that when he looked them up, they didn't have timestamps. But I'm pretty sure this is one that did have a timestamp. So I'm gonna go back and make sure and see if this is one of the things that had a timestamp and it was that morning. Then it makes you wonder, well, why? I mean, he lied to them. Why is he lying and saying that's not when he looked up the lyrics? Okay, so NK was into different types of music, and Battery was the song she asked him about because he knew Metallica very well. Out of all the Metallica songs, that's the song that she wants to know what it means. With regard to how Watts was doing mentally, he didn't know he was going to the new prison that he's at. When he was at DRDC, Denver Reception and Diagnostic Center, he was put through the ringer. He took 11 separate tests to figure out his IQ. His IQ was 135 or 140. And that's pretty good. It's above average. After dinner one evening, he was told to change his clothes and was put into a van and transported to, and they have like it blacked out where he's at so nobody knows. He got staffed at the prison and hopes to get a job soon. He has a female he sees at the prison who asks him how things are going and if he needs any psych meds. He has declined any and all psych medication. Most of the men in his unit are on medication. He tries to keep a low profile in prison. With regard to what food he misses the most, he misses Bojangles, Georgia Boys barbecue, and Shanann's cooking, spaghetti sauce and fried pizza. Shanann had her grandmother's recipe for pizza dough, and she made amazing pizza. With regard to what Watts does with all the letters he received while in jail and prison, if someone writes him once, he will not write them back. He keeps most of the supportive letters, but will throw away any weird letters. I thought they said he couldn't keep the letters, though. I don't know, unless if they keep them for him and then he tells ones to throw away. But earlier he said that he wasn't allowed to keep any letters. He gets to read them on his hour out. So maybe letters, some of the letters he wants to keep, they just save them for him. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because it's a little confusing because he said, he doesn't get to keep them. But here he says he keeps most of the supportive letters, but will throw away any weird letters. There is a male who is a high school senior who wrote him, so Watts, threw the letter away. The same male wrote him again a few weeks ago and told him he supported him. Many people, including journalists, have tried to write him to ask him a lot of questions. He has responded to a few people, but they were people his parents had talked to, so he knew they were real. Many people ask him, Watts, for spiritual advice. He had one female write him who was in an abusive relationship and couldn't find a relationship with God. He had never read the Bible before going into prison and has since read it cover to cover. He writes down a couple of scriptures a day for his parents. His uncle and aunt are missionaries and were amazed how mature he has become with the Bible. Watts' gift is a great memory, so he tries to help people with memorizing scriptures. He has had other inmates write him just to ask him if he could send them scriptures. If people ask about the case, he won't write them back. With regard to if he ever thought he'd fall in love again, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not the guy that's down the street. What's his name? He got engaged over a letter, and that is pretty insane. So somebody, but they have the name blacked out. He heard one female send him a letter while he was in Colorado, which included a picture of her in a bikini, and the press found out. He does not write back anyone associated with the media. The news stations have asked to talk to him, and the prison has declined. He has never thought about writing a book. His parents have suggested he write down how he feels and how he has been dealing with everything. He has always had a crazy imagination, ever since he was a little kid. He convinced his teacher in grade school that he went to Japan or China over the summer, which was not true. He wrote a whole story about it, and his teacher believed him. And, when he says it's like something he's proud of. I was able to convince, the teacher that he went to Japan or China. But, that statement right there, I feel like is very telling of him. He's able to convince, something he's taken pride of, that he's able to convince somebody of a lie. It makes you question now everything he's saying. You know what I'm saying? This story he's given in this interview now. With regard to what Watts thinks of himself now, when he was incarcerated in Weld County, he didn't feel like himself. He wondered how any of his friends could say good things about him after what happened. He shouldn't take to heart what people think about him because what God thinks about him is the only thing that matters now. He shouldn't take to heart what people think about him because what God thinks about him is the only thing that matters now. He has asked God for forgiveness. I was hoping they could one day forgive me too. He has done some good things in his life, but he screwed up the most important thing. He hopes he can help other people with the time he has left. It's going to take a long time for the guilt to go away. People are defining him by one moment in his life. I never knew I could have a relationship with God like I do now. It's like the amazing grace with all of this, but I just wish nobody had to pay any kind of price for this. I know there's a purpose for everybody. I just hope I can find mine. With regard to what we could have said in order for him to have told us the truth during his interview at the Frederick Police Department. When he was in the interrogation room, he was nervous, knew he did something wrong, knew we were going to find out. He has watched enough TV shows but never talked to a police officer in the past. He struggled with the horror of knowing what he did and trying to tell someone else about it. He didn't even want to admit to himself what he had done. He knew what he did was horrific and how much it would hurt other people. He couldn't admit to himself that he had done it, so he couldn't admit it to the police. He believed if he wasn't asked about Shanann hurting the kids, it may have come out a different way. He believed if we would have lied and told him we saw the video of the kids in the truck, he would have told us the truth. He asked to talk to his dad because he wanted to tell him he loved him and that it was probably the last time he would see him outside of the cell. He felt like the interviewers leaving the room from time to time gave him, Watts, time to stew and was a successful tactic. He had never seen the picture before of his 2 girls, which we showed him during the interrogation. He had never seen Celeste wearing the white dress in the picture. And that's, I mean, do you remember in the, and they even bring this up, but when they showed him that picture and they ask, you know, about the boots or the, you know, what she was wearing, he says about that dress Celeste was wearing, and he remembers that dress because she had it on the other day, and because he remembers he had to unbutton it for her, the 2 buttons. He got into so much detail about that. So that just goes to show you, I mean, when is he lying? Was he lying back then about it, or is he lying now about never seeing it? I feel like he was lying back then when he said, "Oh, I remember that dress. She just had it on the other day, and I had to unbutton the 2 buttons." That goes to show you all the details that he includes in his lies. You know, oh, she had it on the other day because I had to help her unbutton it. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure which part, when he was lying now or then, but I'm thinking then he was lying when he, at the time when he was interrogated before. Okay, the picture of Celeste and Bella we showed him may have come from when they were in North Carolina. Showing him pictures of the girls during the interrogation definitely got in my head. He didn't show emotion when we showed him the picture because he is the type of person to hold it all in and not show emotion. At the end of the interview, we left the prison as Watts was required to eat lunch and be present during their count. We told Watts we may return after lunch to ask him additional questions, and he said okay. S.A. Coder also told Watts we may come back in a month, a year, or even in 2 years to speak with him, and to keep it in the back of his mind. We returned to the prison several hours later to speak with Watts. We told Watts we had additional questions regarding the events of August 13th. Watts agreed to answer additional questions, which are reflected above in the timeline provided by Watts. At the end of the interview, we thanked Watts for speaking to us and asked him if he would speak to us again in the future. Watts agreed. We asked Watts what he wanted to have happen with the information he provided. Watts said he figured we would most likely tell Sandy, Frank, and Frankie Rusek about what he had said to give them closure. Detective Momover said he wasn't sure what he would tell the Rusek family, and he had no intention on telling anybody what he said outside of law enforcement. Watts said he would appreciate being able to tell his parents about what happened before they heard it anywhere else. So I'm wondering, why did they lie to him and say that? Because they released it, to everybody. I mean, so why did they say I wonder why they lied and told him that they weren't going to tell anybody outside of law enforcement. I'm not sure why they would say that. And then, I mean, I wonder if they made sure that they told Chris's family before. Maybe that's why it took a month for it to come out, because they wanted to inform the families first, and maybe they gave Chris an opportunity to tell his parents himself, because he asked, I want to be the one to tell him. So maybe he gave them, gave them the opportunity to tell him, maybe over the phone or whatever, himself before they released this. So that's the only thing I could guess. But that's just weird that they said they didn't have any intention on telling anyone outside of law enforcement, unless if originally they weren't, and then they changed their mind for some reason. I don't know. But and then it says, before the interview was concluded, I asked Watts if I could take a picture of him for the file. Watts agreed, and the 2 pictures I took are attached to the report. And the 2 pictures are basically, they both are the same almost, it looks like. She probably just snapped 2 right in a row. It's like the ones I use for my thumbnails for those interviews. So what do you guys think? Like I said, me and Randy are gonna have a discussion about this sometime this week, so be looking for that. I just wanted to come on and read the transcripts for some of you guys that weren't able to listen to the whole interview, or there are certain parts where you can't hear what he's saying, and there's parts where you can't, he's just showing them something where you can't see what he's showing them, like with his hands, as far as where he had when he killed Bella and Celeste, as far as it sounded like he was just showing them where his hands were, so the transcripts kind of clear that up of what he exactly did. I don't know. It's incredibly sad. I know when I first heard it, I was just overwhelmed with emotion. Like, it was worse than I could have imagined. And I'm sure you guys all feel the same way. I just want to, thanks to Amy. She emailed me and was concerned. Oh, you're so sweet. I just want to give you a personal thanks and a shout out. That was so sweet of you to check up on me, and it meant a lot. It really did. When I read that, I was surprised and like, wow, that's just too nice. You guys are awesome. I mean, so many nice people that I've met through this channel. So I look forward to reading your comments. Like I said, we'll have a further discussion. Me and Randy are going to discuss it. We just wanted some time to let it sink in, and don't just be so quick to react. That's why it's taken us a little bit longer, because I didn't want to just react so quick and put a video right out there. I just wanted time to absorb it and let it sink in, and not just have that instant reaction. After hearing that, your emotions are just so strong that I just didn't want to put out a video with my first reactions with the emotions going, and not letting it really like sink in and think about what I just heard. I didn't want to put a video out there until I really was able to kind of know how I feel. I still don't really fully know how I feel about it. It's still kind of sinking in, and I don't even know. I mean, it's gonna take a while, but thinking about what it all means and what I wanted the emotions to kind of settle before I made a video. So we're gonna do a discussion. We're gonna try to do a live, but I don't know, like I said, if we're gonna be able to, because I don't know if I have any restrictions on my channel or not, and I don't know. So if we do a live, it'll be our first, so bear with us. It'll be our first time, so it might be kind of disorganized if we do. Like I said, I'm not sure though if we're going to be able to do a live this week. We might not be able to, but if not, we are going to get it together and discuss it. So I look forward to hearing what all your guys' input on what you guys think of this interview, and seeing what you guys think, and getting your insight and your thoughts on it, because like I said, you guys always like open my eyes to some new ways of looking at things that I never seen in a way, or some things I miss, so I try to get through all of them. There's so many comments, so sometimes I can't read every single one, but I'm trying, and I'm going to do my best to try to read every single one. So hopefully I'll be able to get to your guys' comments. If I haven't got to you yet, hopefully I will get to them all. Like I said, I'm not sure if I will actually be able to read every single one, but I'm going to do my my best in it. And if I don't read it, hopefully Randy, he reads the comments and responds too. So hopefully at least one of us will be able to read all your guys' comments. All your guys' support have been amazing. Like I can't even believe it sometimes. Like, wow, I have so many people supporting me. It's amazing. Like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. So thank you so much. There's so many caring people out there. Like, it's just it makes me realize and feel like I'm not alone. Like, we're not alone in this, and it's a good feeling. It really is. I will see you guys next time. Bye.